Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Zafar and this is the second video of a series I'm doing on JavaScript. So in the previous video we talked about the developer tools, and more specifically we talked about the console tab right here. And we talked about JavaScript expressions and number literals and operators. We also talked about strings and concatenation. And in this video we're going to talk about variables. So variables are pretty much the most used concept in all programming, not just JavaScript. So it's very important for us to learn what variables are and be comfortable using them. So let's see how we can use a variable. So first of all, before using variables, let's talk about what are variables. Okay, so the way I think of it is a variable is kind of like a box. Okay, so you can put data or you can put stuff in the box and you can give that box a human readable label so you can refer to the box. Okay, so let's see how we use variables. So I can do let's say greeting. Okay, so what we've done here is that we created a new box. Right now it's empty, it doesn't have anything in it, and the human readable name or label that we gave it is greeting. Okay, so this right here is called a declaration statement. Okay, and the let is a reserved keyword in JavaScript that we use to create those boxes or those variables. All right, so again, we created a new box. It's called greeting or a new variable, and this right here we call it a declaration statement. Now, how do I put a value inside this variable that I just created? So I can do greeting equal, and I can assign it anything I want pretty much. So on the right hand side of this assignment, I can have any expression. Okay, so I can have a number literal that we talked about in the last video. I can have a string. So let me assign a string. I'll say hello, my name is Zafar. So what this is called, it's called a statement. It's called an assignment statement. Okay, because on the left hand side we have a variable name, right? And we're assigning it, we're using the assignment operator, and on the right hand side we just have a string. And notice it just echoes it back. And whenever you need to ask for the value of the variable greeting, I can just write greeting. And notice it remembers the value now, right? So we can also store numbers, for example. So I can do let sum. Now, one thing to mention here, in the greeting example, we declared the variable first, right? And then we gave it a value. So the first step is just creating that empty box. And then the second step is that we actually put data or a value inside that box. We can actually combine both these steps in one line like this. So let sum equal 10. Like that. So again, we use the keyword let to create a new box, and that box's name or the label of that box is sum. And in the same step, we're assigning it, because we have the equal, we're assigning it the value 10. So this is called an initialization, right? Because not only I'm declaring the variable sum, but also I'm assigning a value to it. So we call this initialization. And notice we get undefined, and it's because this is not an expression, right? This is a statement, and it doesn't evaluate to like a value, but don't worry too much about that. So if I want to get the value of sum, I can just do sum like this. And I hit enter, and notice that JavaScript remembers that sum has the value 10. So now what if I changed my mind and I want sum to maybe be a different number? So we can reassign, right, the variable sum. So I can do sum equal 12. So now if I do sum, notice that it's 12. So in essence, we removed 10 from our box, right, and we replaced it with 12. So we reassigned the variable sum to 12. One important thing to mention here is that you cannot declare the same variable name twice in JavaScript. Okay, you can't have two different boxes with the same name, because JavaScript would be confused to which one you're talking about. So I can't do, for example, let sum again. Notice Now we get an error message and it says identifier sum has already been declared. What that tells us is that we already have a box labeled sum. We already have a variable with the name sum. And by the way, reading error messages in programming is a very essential skill, right? Even if you don't understand what the error message means, you can always research it and learn more about what it's talking about. So we've seen how to use variable or variable names on the left hand side, right? For example, let sum equal 10. Notice sum is on the left. And when we did greeting equal hello, my name is Zafar, greeting was on the left. We can also use variable names in the right hand side of the assignment statement. Okay? For example, if I want a bigger sum, I'll call, so right now I'm declaring a variable, so that's a new box. It's called bigger sum, and I'm going to assign it sum plus 10. So notice now I'm using the variable or the name of the variable sum that I declared earlier that has the value 12 on the right hand side of the assignment statement. Okay? This is valid because on the right hand side we have an expression, right? And expressions must evaluate to some value. And inside those expressions I can have strings, I can have number literals, I can also have variables, right? So if I run this, notice it tells us undefined, which is fine because that's not an expression, that's a statement, that's an assignment statement. So I can do bigger sum, and notice now the value is 22. So the 22 came from sum, which is 12, plus 10, right, to give us 22. So just one thing to quickly mention is that we can't just use any characters for variable names. For example, I can't use 3 hello for a variable name because let's see what the error message is. So I can do let 3 hello equal, for example, 3. And notice it says invalid or unexpected token. What that means is JavaScript didn't really understand what we're trying to say. And because variables in JavaScript can't start with numbers. So I hope this video was helpful. You should definitely practice with variables, with storing different expressions involving numbers and operators, and experiment with having variables on the right hand side of the assignment statement with strings and concatenation, just to get used to the idea or the concept of variables. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for new videos every single day.